Today we're taking a first look at the LUMIX S9 and ask the question of who is this camera actually for? Now, in case you missed it, LUMIX just announced a brand new full-frame mirrorless camera that will join their S series lineup, and that is the LUMIX S9. Now, I had the amazing opportunity and honor to join LUMIX for their LUMIX Global Summit event in Osaka, Japan, to hang out with LUMIX, test the camera, and hang out with fellow LUMIX creators. And I just could not be more thankful for that time. I know I don't want you to think that that's going to change my opinion about this camera, because while there are a lot of good things about this camera, there are definitely things I'm not a huge fan of, and that's what we're going to talk about here today. And so the first thing we're going to talk about, and the first key feature of this camera, is its overall easeability of sharing content. With the LUMIX S9, LUMIX really was going after content creators or people that needed a fast turnaround. And so whether you're sharing your own content or somebody else's content, they really wanted to take out that middle step of editing what you're shooting and be able to do a lot of what you're trying to do in post in camera. And so with that, the steps that LUMIX are taking to make this a camera that is able to easily share your content are things like a new application called the LUMIX Lab. This allows for you to download other creators' LUTs. It also allows for you to sync photos from your camera and even some video content from your camera to the app so you can download it and then upload it to your social media. Another thing they're doing to make your workflow faster is updating real-time LUT. And this is in a couple different ways. One is that within your picture profiles, you do have the ability to stack LUTs. And so realistically, what that may look like is you have a first kind of base LUT that converts the vlog footage to Rec 709, and then you can put a finishing or a look LUT on top of that. And beyond that, something else they've updated with real-time LUT is you do have the ability to change the opacity. And so it's one reason I really like this camera, is for that overall customization of the look in camera. Now, a part of making the transfer speeds a lot faster, something that they're introducing is a 3.8K open gate with a MP4 Lite codec. This allows for you to record just something that's optimized for social media or optimized for transferring from your camera to your phone. Now with that, let's talk about the second key point that LUMIX offered in their presentation, which is overall image quality. Now I mentioned that they have a new shooting mode with the LUMIX S9, but a lot of the old shooting modes with the S5 are also in this camera. You do have 6K open gate, you have cinema 4K, you have different high frame rate options. You really do have a lot, if not almost all, of the shooting modes of the S5 II. Now it won't have all intra options like the S5 IIX, and while the data rates may be a little bit slower, you are still getting a 10-bit 422 option with a lot of these shooting modes as well. Now talking about overall image quality, you are still getting industry-leading IBIS. Beyond that, you're still getting face detect autofocus, and it is a full-frame sensor. And a new feature with the S9 is the functionality of hybrid zoom, which in its most simplistic explanation does extend the focal length of your zoom lens by up to 3 times the amount its original focal length. The fact that LUMIX is taking a full-frame camera that is much smaller than the S5 II or S5 IIX and giving it a lot of the shooting options of the S5 II is just mind-blowing, and I really do love this camera. But I do want to talk about some of the downsides. One thing to mention is that this camera is electronic shutter only. Now I'm familiar with that, shooting with the Sigma FP. I'm very used to being able to deal with some of the things you may deal with an electronic shutter, but that is something you may want to know going into it. So that's one of the first things. The other thing is the fact that there's no EVF. To cut down on size and weight, you are not going to get an EVF. Now, something you may have already noticed when we're talking about this camera having some of the same recording options as the S5 II and S5 IIX is overheating, because there are no fans. And with that, that creates a limitation with recording. You will see a limitation on record times for almost all of your shooting modes. I think it's all of your shooting modes. And so that is a limitation of just not having heat dissipation like the S5 II and S5 IIX have. But beyond that, I really do love the overall compact size of this camera. Now, with all that said, let's answer the question that we originally posed at the beginning of this video. who is this camera for? Now, I do believe that the LUMIX S9 is kind of for the intended audience that Lumix wants, for content creators that's trying to have a fast turnaround for social media, being able to take footage or photos and easily transport it to your phone so that you can post it to social media. The other audience for me is honestly people that use the Sigma FP that over the years have asked for a articulating screen, have asked for 10-bit 422 options, that have asked for open gate. Yes, you may not be able to do raw recording like you can with the Sigma FP, and I still love the Sigma FP for the overall organic image that it creates, but I really do feel like the S9 is that camera that if you looked at the FP and you wanted some of those features, this is the camera to check out. And so overall, I've been really impressed with the LUMIX S9, and I feel like if you're in either one of those audiences, you should definitely consider checking out this camera. And so that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like. And if you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comments below or reach out to me on Instagram and we'll start a conversation there. As always, thank you for joining. Go and find your journey, go embrace life, and remember, I have a lot of bunnies in my yard, but I like ducks.